Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Tuesday, April 11. I am Abigail Smythe. Now, before we get into the news, please like this video. Remember to share your views in the comments and share the video with your family and your friends.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. The Manchester police are probing Monday night's murder of a man in Shudley in the parish. The deceased has been identified as 51-year-old Anthony Williams, a farmer and resident of the Shudley housing scheme. According to reports, around 11:30 p.m., Williams was walking in this scheme when he was pounced upon by gunmen who opened fire, hitting him. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police statistics show that up to March 31, Manchester has recorded 12 murders since the start of the year, the same figure for the corresponding period last year. A United States resident was robbed and shot to death by gunmen at his home in Moneague, St. Anne, Monday night. He has been identified as Gregory McIntosh, a 43-year-old taxi operator from Brooklyn, New York. According to police, he had just arrived on the island. It was reported that around 8 p.m., McIntosh was at home when three men armed with handguns entered the house and held him up. The police say McIntosh was robbed of an undetermined sum of cash before being shot several times. The gunmen ran from the premises and escaped in a waiting motor car. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, McIntosh was found lying in blood with multiple gunshot wounds to the back of the head, left side of the back, and right wrist. The body was removed to the morgue and investigations are underway. The Hanover police are probing the circumstances surrounding the death of a female bartender whose body was fished from the Barbican River in Sandy Bay in the parish on Sunday. The deceased has so far only been identified as Princess, who was said to have been of a Kingston address. Reports are that about 7 a.m., residents spotted the body floating in the river and summoned the police. The body was subsequently removed from the water and taken to the morgue. Investigations are ongoing. In response to the recent flare-up of violence in certain areas, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, says divisional commanders have designed operations to address the specific threats in these spaces. Senior Superintendent of Police in the St. Andrew South Division, Kirk Ricketts, says the JCF is in partnership with the Jamaica Defence Force, JDF, and has commenced a series of island-wide surge operations to bolster efforts to combat crime and ensure the safety and security of the nation.
We're in search mode. Right across the country, the JCF has pushed out as much police officers as possible to dominate the spaces, particularly the hotspots that we're concerned about.
SSP Ricketts highlights the St. Andrew South Division as the division with the most active gangs.
Our problem in St. Andrew South is gang activities, gangs killing gang members, or killing their family members if they can't find their opponents.
He says of the average 70 gangs within the division, about 40 are active. He also points out the challenges.
The main challenge we have is the fact that that most of the communities are at war. We have over 30 communities that are currently having gang-type feuds. And it's very difficult, with the manpower issues that what most divisions face, to dominate all of these communities at the same time, given that any one of the 30 communities can give us multiple casualty incidents any time of the day. So it's really a struggle for us. As on a daily basis, we map the space and we try as best as possible to prevent what I'm sure that these criminal gangsters are planning: mayhem, murder and other types of destructive activities.
The police say while the contribution of gang conflicts to the total number of murders has seen a decline this year, gang violence remains a significant threat to the safety and security of communities. Both the JCF and JDF say they have been steadfast in advancing the counter-gang thrust, which has reaped substantial rewards thus far. In the meantime, the JCF is urging members of the public to cooperate with law enforcement officers working within their communities, as public support is crucial in the collective effort to maintain a safer environment for all Jamaicans. 5 Burger King employees accused of stealing nearly $10 million from the Harborview branch have been charged. The employees were charged by fraud squad detectives with several counts of larceny as a servant, conspiracy to defraud, breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act, and engaging in transaction involving criminal property. The 5, including a supervisor, were each offered station bail in the sum of $400,000 and are to appear before the St. Andrew Parish Court on May 12. The Burger King employees were arrested last week after an audit revealed that millions had been defrauded from the Harborview branch. It is alleged that the fraud was committed between December 2022 and March this year. The employees are accused of pocketing the funds after voiding orders that were legitimately placed by customers. Restaurants Associates of Jamaica Limited, which manages the Burger King franchise, is conducting a follow-up audit to determine the extent of the fraud. Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith says the government is still assessing the scope of Jamaicans using certain countries as illegal gateways. Minister Johnson-Smith says Jamaicans are purchasing legal tickets intending to travel illegitimately. The Foreign Affairs Minister says anecdotal evidence suggests that Panama, Mexico, and Belize are popular gateway destinations. She says the authorities in these jurisdictions have yet to formally bring the concern to the government of Jamaica. Minister Johnson-Smith says Jamaicans using these illegal channels risk human trafficking, kidnapping, or worse. The minister also says the government is working to ease conditions for Jamaicans, both locally and overseas, to dissuade Jamaicans from taking such risky transit. Jamaica's early childhood sector is facing a crisis. That's according to President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, Lysandra Harrison. Mrs. Harrison says many of the early childhood institutions are not able to meet the required standards by the Early Childhood Commission due to a lack of funding. The JTA president says a lack of resources also continues to hamper the development of the pre-primary sector. Mrs. Harrison says there needs to be a sharp focus on the true cost of financing the education system in Jamaica. In business news, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has downgraded its outlook for global economic growth. This in the face of chronically high inflation, rising interest rates, and uncertainties resulting from the collapse of 2 big American banks. The IMF now envisions growth this year of 2.8%, down from 3.4% in 2022 and from the 2.9% estimate for 2023 it made in its previous forecast in January. The fund says the possibility of a hard landing in which rising interest rates weaken growth so much as to cause a recession has risen sharply, especially in the world's wealthiest countries. The IMF, a 190-country lending organization, is forecasting 7% global inflation this year, down from 8.7% in 2022, up from its January forecast of 6.6% for 2023. And on the foreign exchange market, buying rate for the Canadian dollar is $112.73, while the selling rate is $118.43. Buying rate for the Great Britain pound is $185.26, selling rate $191.68. The US dollar's buying rate is $151.40, while the selling rate is $152.70. In the region, Guyana is expected to record the highest growth among CARICOM countries this year, while Haiti will record under 1% growth in 2023. This is according to the latest World Economic Outlook released by the International Monetary Fund (IMF) on Tuesday. According to the IMF, Guyana, which is now recognized as an oil-producing country following the discovery of the product a few years ago, will record economic growth of 37.2% this year, increasing to 45.3% next year. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is the CARICOM country with the second highest predicted economic growth of 6% this year, will register a 5% growth in 2024. Antigua and Barbuda, with a growth of 5.5% this year, will see that figure decline slightly to 5.4% next year, while Dominica and Barbados are projected to record economic growth of 4.9% this year, dropping to 4.7% and 3.9% respectively in 2024. And on the international scene, 5 persons have been confirmed dead and several others wounded following a mass shooting at a bank in Louisville, Kentucky in the United States on Monday. One of those killed was the suspected shooter, who police believe was a former employee of the bank. 8 people were injured and were taken to hospital, including 1 police officer. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear fought back tears as he said the officer had been trying to protect the people of Louisville. Witnesses told U.S. media that the gunman opened fire in the bank's conference room. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been more than 140 mass shootings in the United States so far this year. The archive defines a mass shooting as one in which at least 4 victims are shot, injured, or killed. And finally, in sports, a day that started with chaos ended with Jamaica securing their place atop regional athletics again at the Carifta Games. The 50th edition of the Games ended Monday night with Jamaica finishing atop the leaderboard on a day where records fell and Jamaica pulled off event sweeps. Jamaica topped the meet with 71 medals, 40 gold, 19 silver, and 12 bronze. Hosts Bahamas were next with 42 medals, while Trinidad and Tobago were third with 22. The Austin Sealy Award for the most outstanding performer at the meet went to Jamaica's Rashawn Clark, who captured the under-20 400-meter hurdles title. And that's it for your news roundup for today. Please remember to like this video, leave a comment, and share the video with your family and your friends. I am Abigail Smythe. Have a good evening and see you next time.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right here, Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!